How would you feel if somebody told you you were only expected to live 33 years? Well, for ancient Romans back then, that's all they had to expect to live for. Today, I'll be talking about ancient Roman history and present day Rome, and where they meet in the middle. Rome was full of very plentiful, rich history, one of the most plentiful histories of any city in the world. It's one of the biggest tourist attractions to this day, and is continuing to be. I hope that if you'd like to travel, by the end of this speech, you will consider travel to Rome. If you don't like traveling at all, maybe Rome could be the first place that you travel to. I will now go on to talk about the foundations of Rome. And according to Gabriel Esposito in his Ancient Armies of Rome, these two men right here, twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, found the city. They, in time following when they found the city, Romulus and Remus started to get in a fight, and Romulus kills him, then goes on to name the city names the city about himself, Rome, since his name is Romulus. And then he goes on to be king for about 38 years, and he's a very popular king because he brings in exiles and he brings in banned people from other civilizations. So that's why he was popular. The reign of king era only lasted for about 200 years in Rome, up until about 510 BC. Monarchies were very popular back then, but it did not work very well. They were overthrown by the Roman people. And then from about 510 to 31 AD, according to Erwin Schultz, you see a big skyrocket in population. You see in this chart here, you see a huge skyrocket in architecture and amount of buildings because you need more infrastructure for the population coming in. And that would be the Republican era, which is 510 to about 31 AD. And the only lasting architectural piece we have from BC is the Hercules Victus, which is pictured right here. And we also have the Colosseum left today, as well as the Pantheon and the Pula Arena and the Circus Maximus. The Imperial era is the next era, which is where you see the emperors come in. You start to see the emperors and the Caesars come in. The first Caesar emperor you have is Augustus. He goes out, wins a battle for his people. He comes back. He's praised as a hero. They love him. That was the first Caesar. And then you have the last Caesar, who's Romulus Augustus, who he loses a battle. He gets overtaken by the Byzantine Empire, and then goes on to the Ottoman Empire. After the Byzantine ruled for about 1,000 years, up until about 1453, and then they lose their rule to the Ottoman Empire, who rules up until 1923, believe it or not, which is crazy. And about 20 years later, Rome is declared the Republic of Italy, the capital of the Republic of Italy, sorry. And 3 years later, it's finally becomes Rome itself, the Rome we know today, which you can see depicted here in this photo. According to Statista, it's the most populated city in Rome, which I think it's a little over 4 million, and it's the most visited by tourists in Europe. It is the fourth most visited in the world. That brings us up to date, and that brings us the connection to history there. Now I'm going to talk about, in conclusion, there's been many different eras and many different rulers, many different people taking over the city, people overthrowing them and disliking the rule. But all of that history and all of that architecture leads to what we have now, and what historians love to look back upon, and I myself am interested in. And the result of all that history gives us Rome, one of the most popular tourist attractions, which brings in millions of strangers a year just to see this history and appreciate the ancient feel for the city. That concludes my speech about the ancient history of Rome and the present day Rome and where they meet in the middle. I will now open the floor for a Q&A session. Are there any questions? Yes. He asked, how did Romulus die? There was a brutal storm after his 38 years of ruling, being king, and after that brutal storm passed, he was never seen again in That was all for Romulus. Any other questions? No, I will now close the floor